Hi everyone. Today we're honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the historical March on Washington. On August 28, 1963, 250,000 people gathered in the nation's capital for one of the most powerful demonstrations in history. This march was not just a protest, but a demand for equality, a plea for freedom. It was led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and many other civil rights leaders. The march was meant to show the nation that African Americans had long been denied basic civil and social freedoms, and that they were underpaid, segregated, and treated as second-class citizens for far too long. The march was an act of courage, a cry for justice, and a call to end the injustices that were embedded in the very fabric of this nation.
50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check.
When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall in heir. This note was promised that all men, yes, black men, as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
I have a dream that guns will not be used to shoot up schools, that young lives will be preserved and protected, that every student will feel safe in their classroom.
I have a dream that my poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
I have a dream that people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but instead be loved like Jesus loves us, without prejudice or hate.
Dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
I have a dream that structural racism will be overthrown, that we will see more diversity and inclusion in every corner of society, from schools to the workplace, and that justice will flow freely for all people.
I have a dream that poverty will end with a world filled with millionaires and millionaires.
I have a dream that black boys and men will no longer have to deal with police brutality, that they will be treated with dignity, respect, and equality under the law.
I have a dream that one day I'll be able to see a black woman as president, leading this nation with brilliance, love, and grace.
until our dreams come true. We will keep on praying until our dreams come true. We will continue to volunteer by donating supplies to Bridges to Independence and giving out groceries through Olive Cart. Until our dreams come true, we will keep on fighting against injustices. Until our dreams come true, like Dr. King, we will keep on having hope.
How long? Not long, because my eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord, and His truth is marching on. How long? Not long. My hope is in the Lord.